No niin, terve vaan kaikille. Tästä jatkuu Darkness-Vittinin pelailu. Nyt kun me ollaan tutkittu tämän Loath Nolderin toimistoa, niin nyt tulisi käyttöön niille valokuville, mitkä silloin napatti omasta työhuoneesta. Nimenomaan tämä kolmas. Katsotaanpa vähän tarkemmin sitä. There is something different about this picture. Katsotaan vähän lähempää, niin huomataan, että siinä on taulu vähän eri asennossa. Eli sitä on ilmeisesti joku käynyt täällä kääntelemässä. Niin tutkitaanpa sitä vähän tarkemmin, että onko siinä jotain epäilyttävää. Someone moved this painting. This scene has been sealed by the police. Who could have gotten in here? Let's see the back of it. There seems to be something in it. Nyt tulee sitten kirjeenavaajalle käyttöä. Avataan se vähän auki, sitä selkämystä, ja sieltähän paljastuu kirjekuori. Strange, but could this be the packet Clark Fieldin sent to his brother? If so, what is it doing here? No, otetaan selvää. Elikkäs yhdistetään täältä kirjekuoria tuo kirjeenavaaja. Noin, ja sieltähän paljastuu tavaraa. Katsotaanpa sitten. Jonathan, you know that I like to stick to the point. I'm writing this note to you because I know that shortly something bad is going to happen to me. Jonathan Field, Clark Field's younger brother. No sitten tuli niin säädetty niitä asetuksia nyt sen verran, että mä pystyn vaan klikkaamalla ottamaan nuo dialogit ynnä muut, niin ei mene sitten liian nopeasti. Mutta jatketaanpa nyt tätä kirjettä. For about 4 months now we haven't seen each other. And I didn't reveal my location because I knew that as long as I was looking after the company and keeping things in order, you wouldn't worry about me. I will speak plainly. I know that you don't like me and the feeling is mutual, but this is not the time for such matters. About 1 year ago, I bought a house in the old northern quarter, and I was living there during the gradually increasing time periods when we didn't speak to each other. True to my nature, mysteries of olden times always attracted me much more than anything else, and you also know that I never wanted to mention my present situation neither to you nor to anyone else. No. Siinä on vähän preemikko tuolla. Ei mitään mielenkiintoista siinä. In fact, up until 2 months ago, I never even considered such a thing, and now, despite the inconceivable nature of the situation I am in, I can hardly suppress my feeling of reluctance. You can call this a sort of childish jealousy, but I don't care. Right now, it is impossible to tell you what has happened. If you wonder, you can acquire a little information from my notes which I have included in this package. There is just one thing I want from you. Do not go there, and sell it any way you can. Do this both for you and for your family's honor. And don't go to the police regarding this affair. Don't go, whatever happens. Clark Field warned his brother not to go to the police regarding his situation. But why? You can find the address below. We will not meet again. Take care, Clark. At the end of the letter, Clark is written, and it's written to Jonathan, his brother. There are the notes that Jonathan mentioned in his statement. Address North End Street, number 43, Northwood. There is an address here, but of what? Se ei jostain syystä tykännyt ottaa täällä, kun tässä on I bought a house. Ja sitten otetaan tuo. No niin, interesting. Mr. Phil secretly bought a house. Ja nyt me saadaan sitten tämä osoite. Here is the address of Clark Field's house. The key in the envelope must be his house key. I'd better go there to continue the investigation. Jep, mitäs muuta siellä oli? Avain ja Clark Field's notes which he wrote prior to his death. Part 1 out of 4. Otetaanpas tämä tässä samoin. I decided to write these notes precisely 1 month after I bought this house, in which I have found myself lost in thought, adrift in its dim silence. I escaped the meaningless monotony of my life by listening to every creak, every sound the house makes. I may not write often, but I think that these notes are important. I found this house only by an astonishing coincidence. I had gotten lost in the snow-covered narrow streets of this part of the city while I was wandering. I felt in awe, as though I were adrift in some misty past. I awoke from my wander and strove to find the way back. That is how I came to this house. Its majestic appearance attracted my attention. For some time I had wanted a place to come to from time to time, to listen to this overlooked world of the past that no one knows and where no one wants to come. I found a barely legible metal plate on the half-ruined garden wall that showed the number of the house. It was covered with rust, probably as old as the house itself. Without hesitation, I recorded this number in my digital organizer, which I bought some time ago because of my increasing forgetfulness. When I inspected it from the outside, it was obvious that no one lived there at the time. I examined it in order to learn if it was for sale or not, and I can describe my feelings when I found the person who was selling it. Later, I talked to the vendor, and with a happy smile on his face, I remember he said that he had never come here before the house had been left to his company because of a mortgage, and he wanted to sell it right away, but never thought that this would happen. He didn't know anything more about the house. In fact, I wouldn't have cared if he had. I bought it without hesitation. There is one point that I don't want to continue without mentioning. After I bought the house, I learned that it had another admirer who introduced himself as Ivar Bergen, a Norwegian immigrant. Judging from his appearance, it was obvious that he was a wealthy person, and I remember that he said when we first met that he was also an aspiring owner, but it seemed that he was too late. This house is an old and real place beyond my imagination. I cannot stop thinking of what it would say if walls could talk. Some of the surrounding houses have been abandoned and shunned by people and are on the brink of collapse. A few of them even collapsed a long time ago. It makes me wonder as to the probability of restoration having been done very recently, since the house is still standing firm and strong. I am sure that this house is as old as the surrounding ones. Maybe the main reason for the bad reputation of this quarter is the different rumors that are often spread about some of the abandoned houses. These rumors recount how these houses have sometimes had bad owners, including some unknown foreigners. Some people in the town consider the crime rate to be high here, but that has not been my experience. The inhabitants of the neighborhood keep very much to themselves and don't socialize frequently, often tend to gossip quietly amongst themselves. I started getting to know Iceberg, and can say that our interests coincide almost completely. He visited me after our first meeting, and we took the opportunity to talk at length. He managed to enchant me with his vast knowledge of mystic subjects. We talked the night away discussing topics of mutual interest, and he told me about the things he experienced in some Eastern European countries and in India. And about his connections with some really esoteric and secret people and societies. He told me that he had read some books and tomes which were prohibited, or attempts that had been made to try to destroy them a long time ago. I cannot describe the pleasure I had when he expressed his unbelievable theories about the background of most of the things, well, which are assumed to be superstitions. Äsken tuli ihan kovat brain-dropit. With proof cited from things he had read in some of the ancient sources. For a long time I lived alone amongst ordinary people and can describe the empty, feeling that I always felt within me. From now on, I think that I will not have such a problem anymore. In life, it is really hard to find someone who you can speak with, even within your own family. I told Ivar this from the bottom of my heart and encouraged him to visit me whenever he likes. Before tending to the outdoor areas, I decided to restore the interior of the house. To do this, I was assisted by the original blueprints. While I was checking the antique furniture last night in order to decide what to throw away, I found one carved wooden statue and a strange well-like dig whose opening was carefully covered with a single piece of rusty metal plate and some wooden blocks. I had not checked this room before, since its key was not given to me with the others. I must have noticed this beforehand, but I didn't have much time to get the keys, being busy with company agreements and the man from whom I bought this house was abroad traveling. Incidentally, there is another point that I can't continue without mentioning. That room, which oddly enough contains a well, has no electric wiring. It is really strange that in contrast all the other rooms have electricity. So I had to light up the room with some lanterns which I found amongst the old furniture of the house. I felt a slight cold draught coming from within the carefully covered well, and occasionally I've heard some rattling sounds, but because I didn't have a strong enough flashlight, I couldn't examine the situation down below. I even threw a few small wooden blocks down, but I only heard sounds which made me think that the ground at the bottom is covered with mud. As soon as possible, I am going to buy a stronger flashlight and try to examine down below. There isn't even the slightest clue regarding the reasons for digging such a well. Maybe it is the entrance to an underground room which was dug for the purpose of taking shelter during an extraordinary situation, such as a war. I wanted to take a look down there, but the ladder at the side seemed too rusty and flimsy. I decided that trying it would be too dangerous, so I tried to find another way. I couldn't find anything useful at the time. The carved wooden statue is a complete enigma. I have no idea what it depicts. Whenever I hold it, due to reasons that I can't comprehend, I feel that it is very ancient. It was carved smoothly from a species of tree that I don't recognize, and it contains a secret compartment. I think that I unintentionally did something because it opened by itself, or maybe it was already open, I'm not sure. There was nothing in the secret compartment, it was completely empty. Oddly enough, I felt that it had once stored something very precious. In addition, a beautiful yet subtle smell is dispersing from within the secret compartment. I cannot tell what it is, but maybe it's some type of incense. I think I've really started to get used to the house. During the first weeks, although I even hid this from myself, I felt like I wasn't going to get used to being here. I was jumping at every creak and cautiously listening to every sound. I kept waking up because of some excessively dense strange smells whose source I couldn't identify, and then I wasn't able to get back to sleep again. Yes, this may sound childish, but this house has a genius logic that is really effective. No. Siinä meni vahingossa nyt joku. As if all the creaks which are heard within and all these musty smells are alien. Siinä uudestaan. A term meaning the special atmosphere of place. In Roman mythology, it meant the protective spirit of a place and was often depicted as a snake. No, se tuli siinä. Maybe some of the stories that I have heard from some of the local people have influenced me thinking. The importance of these stories must often be related to the old owners of the houses seem too much for the local people. When they talk about these matters, a tone dominates their voices that is a mixture of awe and reverence, and as thought they are afraid of being heard, they start to whisper. According to the story, this quarter is one of the first settlements of the Welsh mold, and for this reason the houses which are standing now are the reconstructed or at least vastly restored versions of the old original ones. There was a special purpose for trying to keep some of the houses intact, and there are two tight-lipped about this purpose. She mentioned some connections and deep wells like the one I found in my house, but they are refrained from describing the purpose of these. If I investigate further, I hope to learn more about this connection or deep wells. Ja viimeinen sivu. I have completed all the preparations for the restoration and hired a competent and experienced team. They will start working next week to change all the inner wooden planking and wallpaper. I hope that with these changes I can stop all this musty and other unknown smells. I can't say that Ivor likes this restoration process. He asserted that changes are going to destroy the original genius Loki, and he argued with me on this for a long time. For some reason that I could not understand, I can't stop thinking that he was more angry than he let on. Yes, I know that he is really insensitive about such topics, but I can't change his opinions. I told him that this is going to be a restoration that is based on the original design. I am not going to change my mind about this. As soon as possible I want to have the restoration process completed. No, siellä oli se Genius Loki löytyi, mutta ei oikein muuta semmoista, mikä Howard löytyi tärkeäksi. No, lopetellaan tältä erää ja seuraavassa osassa mennään sitten tonne Clark Fieldin taloon katsomaan, että mitä sieltä sitten löytyisi. Se on moro.